All right, we back. Episode 2 of this crazy season. We back into. I've been waiting to drop this episode. To be real, with y'all is, and yeah, we gonna get straight into it. Yo, we got so much going on. Football starts this week. College football started this past week. I was gonna try to get an episode out before on vacation. Got a little under the weather, but we here now, so we ain't gonna even dwell on that, right? Few big highlights that we're going to get into before we start getting into the segments, because we're bringing back Stop the BS. We're bringing back as well, Call It, and we're bringing back Bettorsports. So the best 3 picks of the week. So to make sure we try to make some money as well. And as well, I have my division leaders for you guys that you can make some money on this season for. You're welcome. You're welcome, right? So, the way that we're going to start is major headlines. Major headlines. QB battle that we were talking about before. The Colts. Anthony Richardson lost it to Daniel Jones. Now, for everybody that's been watching and staying along with me the whole time, people have been talking trash about Daniel Jones. I was a believer in Daniel Jones and the Giants. I did believe he could be a quality quarterback regardless whether he was with the Giants or not. So I'm not surprised that he was able to win another QB job. This is the third job, team he has started for now, because he started for the Vikings as well. Well, when he went there, when I think Sam Darnold was down for a couple weeks. But I don't agree with the decision. I don't think that he outplayed Anthony Richardson. I don't think that he was the better QB, and you could see by some of the reaction in the locker room. He was named the captain, and not everybody seemed to agree, especially it seems like Zaire Franklin did not agree. A lot of people do not agree with Zaire Franklin's decision, saying that a quarterback is automatically going to be a captain, but I don't agree. You don't just automatically give people captain jobs. That's really somebody that people look to in the locker room to will you through the season. So I am a believer in that Daniel Jones can play football. Don't believe that he should have won the job or have been captain. That's why I stand at that. Next thing, Flacco was named starter. Not surprised by that. And I thought that should have been the case. I don't think Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders completely outworld them to make you the starter like Dak Prescott did, taking over Romo's job back when Dak Prescott did X amount of years ago. But I do think that this depth chart and decision said a lot of things about what some people were saying. Do I think that Shedeur should be QB3? I don't think Dylan Gabriel completely outplayed him. I don't think that I've been tracking it the whole summer, and it seemed like Shedeur has been outplaying him. He didn't get the right amount of game 3. Was very interesting to me. You put him out there with a bunch of people that's about to get cut. You don't really give him no real run, but then you also see some of Shedeur's struggles of trying to make more of something where that's young decision making, where you need to sometimes just get rid of the ball. He's holding on to the ball too long. You've seen him hold on to the ball for 8+ seconds, which usually bad things happen after that in the NFL. So I can understand the concern about that, and that was something that they highlighted in college. We're gonna get back to that during Stop the BS though, right? Next, Micah Parsons was traded. Like, we're going to get more into this. But Micah Parsons was traded. 4 years, signs a 4-year, $188 million dollar deal with $108 million deal, sorry. With the Packers. Crazy move, especially with the recent history with the Packers and Dallas. The Packers fans have to hate Dallas. I know the new era Packers fans, I know a few that are really growing a strong hatred for this Packers team. The rivalry continues to grow. They play each other, I believe, week 4, which could be a crazy game. Micah Parsons is dealing with an injury that she's getting an epidural shot. The fact that my wife had just delivered my child, I'm going to give her credit. I didn't deliver the child. She did. I know what an epidural shot is. That means something really hurt. But nonetheless, that means that he ain't going to feel it during the game, so he'll be playing ball. So you don't really have to worry about Micah Parsons' injury, because he ain't really going to feel it during the game. Or he's not going to feel it at all. Let me say that. I'm can't wait to hop into the segment. So let's get into the segment. Let's go into calling, right? I bet. Florida football is back. I'm going to stop it there. I don't want you guys to get overhyped, right? Now, Florida Gator football may be back. And let me explain it like this. Florida Gators have been playing, the players that they've been playing on the field for the majority have been playing 2 to 3 years for the most part on this team. So they're well experienced. Some of the other two, Miami, you have Miami, Florida State, USF, and UCF, all kind of dealing with some transfers and different stuff like that. Carson Beck is a transfer. Thomas Cast, I think his name is Castonis. You have he's a transfer as well from Boston College. Bynum Brown from USF has been there. But I think that the first week is good. And I think sometimes that college football seems to be better when Florida football is better. So sometimes people overjump the gun. I don't think that all the other teams are where they need to be. Now, due to the schedule, we may see some of these teams deeper than they need to be as well. Florida State and Miami play each other. So we'll see which one of them actually end up the better of them two. But we'll see throughout the schedule if they actually survive throughout the schedule. Both of their schedules are not crazy whirlwind schedules either. So you can see them late in the season, but I don't think that they're amazing teams. I don't think that they're deep college football playoff teams either. So I think as we talk about all that, I don't think that Florida football is completely back. I think that we are getting there. There's a lot of teams striving, a lot of teams on the uprise. Florida Gator football should be back for at least the next 4 years. You have Tramel Jones that looked amazing behind DJ Lagway. We know what DJ Lagway is already. And as well, you know that Florida State football, when they're good, their supporting staff shows up. So that's one thing that's going to benefit Florida State this year. And their schedule is not crazy either. They have a couple. If they're winning this Alabama game was really big because if they are playing at least 70 to how they can show up in the college football playoffs if they go 9-3. They could be around the 15 range where they are at right now. So Miami also doesn't have a crazy schedule. So that's why I mean that they can end up there. But let's hop into Stop the BS, right? Teams not handling their star players early enough and then getting into these weird battles is not a good thing. I don't get why you're not here. Why would the Commanders let Terry McLaurin's number raise? Let DK Metcalf get a deal first. Let Debo come over. And you have to pay him now. And you hesitate on his deal for someone that helped build. He's 30 years old, the top jump ball receiver this last year. Big part of Jaden Daniels' progression. This is a year to which you're hoping that Jaden Daniels doesn't go to slump because you have mega expectations for your franchise this year. Yeah, especially with the position that you have traded and everything for. You've shown that your franchise isn't went down. You're starting to really invest your assets. So, the Bengals, you need Trey Hackerson. There's no even a thought process about that. Your defense is already a question mark for the team. Is the question mark for the team. You can't lose your captain and a game changer in the edge. Now that you have him and Stewart, you have a line. These guys have DJ Reed in the middle. These guys have a line that can make a little noise. Now, you need your back end to show up still. Of course, your corners there, your secondary to show up still. But you have a line. The Browns, Myles Garrett. Now, I know he forced a deal a couple years early, whatnot. But you don't need him to threaten to trade and all the silly stuff. Like, come on now. Jerry Jones and company, right? Because I'm going to hop into you all in all. Because you're kind of a part of this. This first Stop the BS. But you're your own Stop the BS. Jerry Jones today goes on Good Morning America and says that he's willing, if he's going to benefit the numbers, he's going to do it. But that shows me that the same problem in the last 25 years for the Cowboys is going to be the same problem for the next 25 years for the Cowboys, right? Because God forbid, but Jerry Jones is not going to live forever. And Stephen Jones, who is also the GM for the Cowboys, seems, and the vice president for the Cowboys seems to be in agreement, and sometimes at the upfront of some of these deals that are not good deals. Not only did you send him to somebody that is a longtime rival, which is some of this stuff used to not happen. It used to be quiet rules that we're not sending stuff to rivals or teams in our conference and stuff like that to make them better. But instead of you extending him, which you knew he was going to get a deal regardless, instead of you doing it last year, instead of you doing it, you didn't offer him a deal in 3 months. You're acting like you didn't need to be involved with his agent. David McGowan, I'm going to tell you exactly some of his top players that he represents, because Jerry Jones' main thing was that an agent does not belong in this deal. When does an agent not belong in a sports deal? This is the number one NFL agent in the NFL. He represents Jalen Ramsey, J.C. Horn, C.J. Stroud, Derwin James, Jesse Bates, Deshaun Watson, Micah Parsons. He did $1 billion deals last year. The first agent in NFL history to do $1 billion in one offseason. You don't know who this guy is, though. Come on, it's like, stop. You're not focused on winning. So that's why I have the Cowboys where I have the Cowboys this year. Because you're not focused on winning. You admitted that you jumped out early and did Steele and Trayvon Diggs deal, but you kept them and not traded them after you bashed them a little. They said they had to step up. Hey, you hope it works. You're telling me that you hope that this deal is the Herschel Walker deal, where Herschel Walker was 34, 35. Michael Parsons is a 27-year-old pass rusher. This is like Khalil Mack when he got traded from the Bears. This is a star, a generational star. If you're talking about his run defense, he's getting 2 ran at him. With Rashawn Gray and them out there with the linebacker corner front 7 they have out there, he's not getting 2 ran at him and 3 ran at him on the D-line. Because if he is, the run is going to stop with Xavier McKinney and company over there. You can't do that with him over there. Because you have to continue to build assets on that side. They have players that are 27. Rashawn Gray, 27. Jordan Love, 27. The receiving core is all under 27. It's ridiculous that the Packers have found a way to swoop in and get Micah Parsons, take them from you, and put themselves in championship contender territory, which you should be trying to do, but you're talking about the numbers. Still, you're focused on the numbers. It's sad. It's sad. Next on Stop the BS. Archie is a bust. Stop the BS. Completely stop the BS. Archie is not a bust. Now, this is a jump from 2A ball in Texas. Now, when I tell people with DJ Lagaway playing 4A ball and doing what he did and bringing Johnny Manziel's Texas throwing record and 4A ball and how amazing that was, there's levels to it. 2A ball, you're not playing the same level as 4A ball in Texas. Texas is a crazy state in football, high school football. So you're not playing slumps completely either. Also, we got to credit Matt Patricia for Matt Patricia almost did what Brian Flores. Matt Patricia brought with Brian Flores to college completely. With his 4-3 defense with the Vikings, Matt Patricia gave Archie about 2 to 4 seconds to make a decision, and he's making a disguise. If you did not make the decision fast and early, which is usually going to be a check down or something which a lot of people are not impressed with, and is not going to completely kill the defense or after a while, especially when they expected a check down, they start hammering down on it. That really it's going to be a long day. And that's what he did with him. And the quarterback was not prepared for that, especially in an environment like that. There was a lot going on. He looked confused because he was confused. That you see it in the NFL, right? And we seen it with the Vikings last year. Sam Darnold was not. Sam Darnold was slinging the ball pretty good last year, but Brian Flores' defense put them in a position with the field position to win a lot of these games last year. And that's what Ohio State did. Julian looked good at times, but they gave them a chance to come back in that game. And Texas had a chance to tie the game or win the game at the end of the game. So they were still in the game. But that defense showed up again. And showed up on a big fourth and goal a couple of times in the red zone as well. That defense showed up multiple times. So is Archie a bust? No, he is going to win some games this year. I do think that they're going to the swamp and lose, though. I do think that they may lose another game. The game versus Texas A&M late in the season is a huge game. A lot of these other teams pick up on this, and this is not going to be a fourth thing. Now, I want people to pick up on, and I could say that this is part of my call it. A lot of the Big Ten is getting NFL coordinators and bringing them over. You have Wink over there too. Brett Bellamy has some NFL NFL experience. Chip Kelly, we've seen him as a coordinator as well in the Big Ten. So they're starting to do that a lot in the Big Ten, and they're starting to play a big effect. Now, I want to get into my Bettorsports 3. Right? I want to get into my Bettorsports 3. I want y'all to pay attention. The spread for the Broncos game versus Ward for the first game of his career is 7.5. We're going to alternate it to 6.5. The half a point is a killer. We're going to alternate it almost 1.5 points. A full point, actually. Not a 1.5 point, a full point. To 6.5. We're going to win by 6. We're going to win by 7. Now, if you want to alternate it to 6, that's 1.5 points, which is fine too. Probably not a big effect on the odds. Safer. You get your push if you need it. And Bridge is probably safer because, like I said, a half a point is a killer. The second one is Bengals money line. The Bengals is focusing on big on starting early. For the last 4 years, they have started 0-3. They are big on not doing that this year. That has played a big effect into them either missing the playoffs or trying to get in late in a wild card game or something like that, and it not always has been successful for them. For the most part, what Burrow has gotten, he's gotten to the AFC Championship or better. In the 2 years he has gotten into the playoffs. So the goal is to get in with him. So with them playing the Browns early, I think they're going to try to hammer down and try to start early. And we're just going to take that money line. We're going to play it safe here. Bettorsports. We're going to be smart. That's why we alternated first one. The next one, not the last one, because I have a little sneaky money line for y'all, right? Oklahoma money line versus Michigan. Safe again. No Shamar Moore. Going on the road into the SEC. Bryce Underwood's first big game. He's also played 2A ball in Texas. So, like we just said about Archie, this is a big jump. Going out here to Oklahoma, Oklahoma's defense is completely revamped. Really good defense this year. Offense, great quarterback as well. Well, with a highly contender quarterback in John. So, and not as hyped team as Michigan this year, not being talked about as much, but pay attention. Oklahoma is going to put them through it this game. It's going to be a wake-up game. This will be a loss on the Michigan schedule, but they still have a chance to respond with the rest of their schedule. They have a few other big games that I think that they may get through later in the year. Now, on the NFL schedule, right, we have the Giants versus the Commanders. Now, the Commanders have a lot going on, right? The secondary was not revamped. The front four will try to vent. Now, Debo's scheme is not what people think it's going to be. Like, it's very interesting. It didn't look good in preseason. They didn't look amazing in preseason. and they didn't have Terry McLaurin. Usually when that happens, the person starts slow for the first week or two. You hear week 3 or 4 that they already start picking it up. They get into what you call the form. He didn't go through preseason, didn't go through training camp, so he's going to be out of it. This is a good time to sneak up on the Giants and take their money line. It's plus 280. They're plus 6.5. You can buy, take them plus 7.5. Try to take them plus 14, which is like minus 330. I think play with the numbers. But for some plus money, plus 280. You can add that with the parlay I gave you right there. For some little extra cushion, 10 probably make you 110. 10, 20 will probably make you 220. You go into that. Now, I'm going to give you my division leaders, right, for the year. Before we get off this, like I said, I'm going to bless y'all. My division leaders is cashing out. So you may want to cash that while you can. You can put out the division, I believe, leaders throughout the year. So if you don't want to catch it now, you can watch it, keep your eye on it, and then hop back in there. I will, if you guys want me to, I'll keep updating you guys on it. Just let me know what you guys are thinking. NFC East, Eagles. Still the best team in the conference, I believe. Did take a step down in talent, but they draft really well. So if their young guys step up just like the way they did last year, they should be fine. The Eagles for the NFC East. NFC West, Rams. I think they are better than the 49ers. Their defense is young, but they are nice. I love their defense. Physical, ferocious, not scared. Jared Verse stepped out there. Bryce Young stepped out there this offseason, and they were working. You have Fisk in the middle there working. I believe they drafted well again this year. Yeah, their linebackers are young and they're flying. Yeah, so the Rams, right? So the Rams is physical and ferocious, but now we're gonna hop into NFC South. We got the Bucks. Bucks is easily the best team in this division. Falcons are probably the closest team to the division. Michael Penix, I don't think is gonna have a sophomore slump because I think this is almost still like his rookie year. Teams will still kind of be figuring him out, and I think he did take a little jump in the offseason, so he may have a little advantage this year. But they're not good enough to beat the Bucks. The Bucks may be a Super Bowl contender this year with how good their offense is. The NFC North, right? NFC North is going to be the Lions. Packers did add some stuff, but I think that within their wide receiver core, they have a 5-6 wide receiver core deep. They just need to figure out their wide receiver room because I think you really need to establish a wide receiver one, a go-to receiver. I'm not sure if they have a go-to receiver. Let's see if Marcus Golden could be like that. Let's see if Reed can separate himself and be that because he was at times. Christian Watson, when healthy, was that at times. So let's see who separates themselves from the pack. And it's a blessing to have 5-6 wide receivers. Some organizations such as myself, the Giants fan, may only have 1 to 2 to possibly 3 good wide receivers or quality wide receivers on our core. So to have 5 possible wide receiver 1s to wide receiver 2 options is a blessing. But you need to separate yourself to, not for hierarchy rankings, but just for playbook rankings, to know who's the X, to know who's the Y, to know what's exactly going to be going on a consistent basis for some continuity. But, the Vikings are going to also be going on to do some early struggles with J.J. McCarthy, so you're just going to have to just keep an eye out for that, and I think the Lions will get the early games out the way, especially with how hurt they was last year. People don't realize how hurt the Lions was last year, so I think they'll jump out to a nice run during the regular season. I think they figured out how to win regular season games at this point with this team. And we're going to hop into the AFC quickly, right? Bills, easily. No need to discuss that conference. AFC South, easily the Texans. No need to discuss that conference. Now, the 2 conferences that's up for grabs, AFC North, Ravens. I have the Ravens again. I think the Ravens actually win the Super Bowl this year. That's my Super Bowl prediction. Their defense has even more equipped than they were last year. Yeah, they missed Zay Flowers in the playoffs, but I don't think that's exactly ultimately what finished them off. I think the early turnovers by Lamar, at which he did end up recovering over, but the late drops by Mark Andrews and mishaps by Mark Andrews just were killers. And I think that's what cost the Ravens their chance last year. I think this year they may not put themselves in that position because they're just so good. I didn't see the Chiefs or the Bills make that much progression if not lose stuff. But the Ravens definitely even got progressed this year, adding D-Hop on offense, adding in the draft pick on defense, adding in, I believe, a D tackle as well. So I like the Ravens a lot for the AFC North. And then finally for the AFC West is going to be the Chiefs. I don't think anybody else closed the gap. Again, Patrick Mahomes and them just know how to win games. So them being motivated off of last year, their wide receiver core actually being healthy, them being hurt last year so deeply, and them having to figure out how deep their wide receiver core is, figure out options going throughout the year to make that Super Bowl run, help them figure out some extra options going into this year. So now their wide receiver core is about 5 deep as well. And when you have Patrick Mahomes with 5 wide receivers, including Travis Kelce, see, that's dangerous. You have Isaiah Pacheco back there in the back. I believe they had Kareem Hunt again this year. Yeah, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, and their offense is dangerous. Their defense with Steve Spagnuolo and their 4-3 defense, and their NASCAR defense is always going to be a top 5 defense. And when they are a top 5 defense, when you have a top 5 defense, top 5 offense, or let's say top 10 offense, and Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be something to watch out for as usual. But my point is, like I said, I'm going to bless you. The divisions, and if you're going to bet, and we're going to go over it again, it is Eagles, Rams, Bucks, Lions, Bills, Chiefs, Texans, and Ravens. $10 to $2,525. If you put that in right before the season, that's what it comes out to. During the year, the price may go down, may go up, depending on how these teams are playing. But I suggest you lock it in now. It doesn't hurt. $10. It costs $20. We'll flip it. Will probably be around $5,000 and some change. Maybe $5,000 and let's say $5,100. It'll probably be like $5,100 for your payout if you put 20. So it's up to you what you want to do. I know some people put 100 on their tickets. You could just do the math yourself. It would be 25,000 and $250 for you. But from there, that's the blessing for the week. Also, remember, like I said, put in your Bettorsports 3. Like, comment, share. I appreciate all you guys. Let's get ready for football this week, and I'll see you guys next week.